Okay, so today I'm gonna show you guys how I make my holiday urns so that you guys can do it at your own house. So I've set up this little station, and you want to start off with getting a pot, or you can also work with your existing urn that's at your house. But a lot of people just buy like the disposable pots from the nursery or the grocery stores. So fill it with some triple mix. You want to use triple mix and not potting soil. When it freezes, it'll hold your greenery in a lot better, and it's also a denser soil. So I've packed this down. I've pushed down quite a bit, and it will give me a better surface when I start putting my greenery into the bucket. So here we go. And before we get started, just for reference, I wanted to show you all the things that I have that will help me make my urn beautiful. So the only tools you really need is a pair of pruners. Obviously, if you're a gardener, you know Falcos are quite amazing. Any pruners will work. You don't need a special kind. Your pot and some soil. Now this is the soil that I am using. It's a garden soil, basically a triple mix. Like I said before, don't use potting mix. It will make it a lot easier to work with using your triple mix. I have some wilt proof that I use when I'm all done to spray all of my greens. It'll just help hold the moisture in the greenery longer so that my urn will last well into the winter months. A lot of people like to use birch in their urns. This year for myself, I'm just not doing any birch. I always do birch, so I like to switch it up a bit. But if you want to know how to use birch in your urn, I can also make a video on that. But I have some red dogwood, some fir, cedar, pine, magnolia, and boxwood. And then I have my decor. I'm gonna do a red and silver theme this time. Okay, so you wanna start off with your cedar. And I've already started here. You wanna create a nice skirt around your urn, but also have some nice firm pieces that can create some height in the middle. So here's part of a bundle, and you're going to just snip off little branches and start placing them around the edge of your urn. I always like to look when I get some really nice straight upright pieces that I'll use these ones as my centers. Okay, so now that we've got all the cedar in the urn, we're going to move on to our fir. So with the fir, I always like to put the fir upside down. So just to give it that nice silvery look. So same thing, you'll snip off a piece and you'll place it upside down, kind of on a bit of an angle so it's not so flat, and press it down. One good note with the fir and all of your greens as well is you don't want to be cutting too small of pieces. You want to make sure that there is enough on the stem where it's firm and it can press nicely into the soil. When it's too flimsy, on a windy day, those pieces will blow right out if it's not frozen yet. And a larger piece will allow you for a better display. And just remember, there's no such thing as too much or too little. This is your urn. You can make it how you like. Everything is personal preference. So now I think I'm all done with my fir. We're gonna move on to our cedar. Now not cedar, our pine. Now this pine has been soaked in water, so it's still a little bit wet, but it'll fluff up a bit once it dries out. Same thing with the pine. You want to put it in. And for me, I really like having some pieces stick up from the middle and then some pieces come down low. It gives you a nice textured look. Okay, so now our greenery is really starting to come together. We're gonna add some magnolia. And some boxwood. Now a little goes a long way with these guys. They just add a different type of texture and color to the urn. So one thing with your magnolia, you can see that I've trimmed it on a nice angled cut, and that will allow it to stay fresher longer. We're going to slip these in just on a nice angle. And now with the boxwood, same thing, you're going to want to cut on an angle to allow, kind of like if you had fresh cut flowers in a vase at home. And we're going to push these in little accent pieces. Okay, so we're all done with our greenery. As you can see, I kind of pulled some out. I noticed that the tops of some of the boxwoods were browning. So those pieces went, and I replaced them with some nice ones. Now we're gonna give it a spray with our wilt proof. It's all sprayed. You don't need to add the wilt proof, but if you're wanting your greenery to last longer, it is a good added touch. And now we're going to do some dogwood. So the key to putting in dogwood is to make sure that it's straight. Same thing, I'm cutting the ends off. And you're just going to push it down into the pot and do that probably 7 to 10 times. It'll give it a nice full red look. And one last thing that I didn't mention is try to get them all the same height and more directed in the center of your urn rather than the whole surface area of your urn. So I think we're all done with the dogwood, and now we're going to add our decor. So with your decor, you can get these balls usually from most nurseries or garden center around the holiday season. They come with sticks on them, so I usually will trim off the end and then place usually 3 around an urn. Another thing that I like to mention is you notice that this urn is a 360 view. A lot of the times at the grocery stores they have a back on them, which is fine and those still look beautiful, but I like to do a 360 view so that anywhere that your urn is placed, whether it's at your front door or in your backyard, you're looking at a beautiful urn no matter what side you're looking at it, whether you're coming out of your house or somebody's coming in. And last, just to keep it simple, I'm going to use these red berries. Now a nice trick is you buy this whole bundle from the garden center, and instead of just placing a couple of these in for an expensive price, you can break these apart just like that and use these individually to go into your urn. And there you have it, a beautiful urn that you built yourself. I was going to add in some pine cones, but I definitely don't think it needs it. I think it looks perfect just on its own. Okay, so unfortunately my video cut off at the very end there, but this is the finished product. I ended up making one more after I filmed this video because I want to have one on each side of my doorway. But here's a nice little slow-mo video of the finished product. I hope you enjoy.